over the globe, democracy remains the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. On this pedestal, the people stand for the dividends of democracy and fundamental human rights, which gives people a say in the governance of their country. In Nigeria, June 12, 1993 was a date to be reckoned with, as it was a judged date in history when the nation held the freest and fairest election, where Nigerians from the north to the south, regardless of their tribes, language, religion or creed, went out en masse to vote the acclaimed winner of the election, Chief Moshood Abiola. Chief Moshood Abiola M.K.O. and his then running mate Alhaji Babagana Kingibe, with a robust campaign tagged Hope 93, promised to restore the lost hope of the masses, which never came to pass, as the election was annulled by the then military junta led by General Ibrahim Babangida. M.K.O. Abiola, however, died in the struggle, but his death laid a solid foundation for a democratic rule which the nation has enjoyed since 1999. 3 years ago, President Muhammadu Buhari, in his magnanimity, honored late M.K.O. Abiola with the highest national title of the Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, GCFR, and recognized June 12 as Nigeria's Democracy Day. It is in lieu of this that the Ogun State Government, under the leadership of Prince Dapo Abiodun, commemorated the 2022 Democracy Day amidst fanfare and glees at the M.K.O. Abiola International Stadium, Kuto, Abeokuta. The Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, speaking at the event, explained that June 12, 1993 election was an election that eroded democratic rule. Therefore, there is need to reflect on the sacrifices made by those heroes.
June 12, the day of that historic election, has been declared Democracy Day by President Muhammadu Buhari. To not only celebrate our nascent democracy, but to also reflect on the sacrifices made by those heroes and ensure that those sacrifices are not in vain. It is again saying that the struggle of June 12, as orchestrated by M.K.O, gave birth to the seamless democracy we now enjoy in Nigeria. It is a joy that in the last 23 years, our dear nation has continued to witness continuous democratic dispensation and its dividends. That is the fruit of the sacrifices and other real democrats have made for us. This we cannot forget.
Governor Abiodun enjoined all to rededicate themselves to the service and unity of the nation and shun every act that could be an albatross against the success of democracy.
As we reflect on the unquantifiable selfless sacrifice and contribution of Chief Moshood Abiola and other democratic leaders towards the development of our fatherland, I enjoin us all to dedicate ourselves to the service and unity of this great nation. Beyond this celebration, I enjoin you all to shun all acts that will be an albatross against the democratic success we have made and continue to sustain in our dear state for the last 36 months. This is the only way we can make progress and achieve our collective dream.
Governor Abiodun enjoined all to review the scorecard and honor the founding fathers of democracy by making efforts to sustain their worthy legacy.
Distinguished compatriots, the greatest tribute we can pay is not by just making merry on this day or giving ourselves a holiday. We should review the scorecard of our appreciation and honors to our founding fathers that sacrificed so much towards the creation of our country and have made every effort to sustain their worthy legacy.
The governor, in his magnanimity, announced the approved committal to life imprisonment of the death sentences of 6 convicts and release of 40 inmates, urging them to turn a new leaf and have a fresh start.
In commemoration of this year's June 12th celebration and in exercise of my powers under section 212-1 and 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, and sections 4 and 5 of the Ogun State Advisory Council of the Prerogative of Mercy Law of Ogun State 2006, I have approved the committal to life imprisonment of 10 sentences of 6 convicts. Again, I repeat, I have approved the committal to life imprisonment of 10 sentences of 6 convicts. Furthermore, I have also approved the early release of 40 others. It is my hope that this symbolic gesture will make the beneficiaries turn a new leaf and have a fresh opportunity to contribute their quota to the development of Nigerian nation. This is also in recognition of the commitment of government at all levels to aid the congestion of our correctional centers.
Earlier, the Deputy Governor, Engineer Noimot Salakoedele, paid a visit to the family house of Chief Moshood Abiola, where she reiterated the commitment of the state government to the goals and dreams of M.K.O so that his labor will not be in vain.
On this day, we will remember him as a person, we'll send our prayers to him, and we'll also remember what he stood for and what he promised us Nigerians, and look forward in hope that the one Nigeria that he strove for, that we all voted for him right across the country, east, west, north, central, all parts of the country came out in their huge numbers and supported him, and that we continue to work towards his goals so that he would not have labored in vain, but that we will continue to have a strong, united Nigeria where we are not divided by our ethnicity, our religions, or anything, but we are completely focused on making our country great.
The Commissioner for Culture and Tourism, Dr. Toyin Taiwo, while welcoming guests to the event, said the day is set aside to remember the great sacrifice of the heroes of democracy and their courage with deep sense of patriotism.
Today, we remember the great sacrifice of the heroes of the struggle, and we salute their courage and the deep sense of patriotism. Without any doubt, the symbol of the struggle, late Chief M.K.O. Abiola, will continue to remain indelible in our minds and hearts. It has indeed become a national heritage.
Speeches upon speeches were delivered by activists and people who were part of the June 12 struggle.
Chief M.K.O. Abiola played a critical role in the struggle for the actualization of June 12. Without his resolve, without his determination to actualize the mandate of the people, there would not have been a June 12 movement. So he laid down his life. But we must also recognize that we are not only celebrating today Chief M.K.O. Abiola, we are also celebrating all others who lost their lives, who lost their freedom in the cause of the fight for the actualization of June 12. We must remember that on June 30, 1993, the campaign of democracy declared a weak land and have had. Therefore, we need to emulate all of these people. We need to resolve individually and collectively that it is better to fight and die if necessary for freedom, to fight and die for the actualization and respect for democratic rights of our people than to live in chains.
Celebrating June 12 is to tell our leaders, being a local government chairman, a councillor, a legislator, a senator, a speaker, a governor, how are you playing your role? What shall we remember you for? We are remembering M.K.O Abiola today, not because he was the richest man at that time, but we are remembering him today for standing by the people, for standing for the rights of the people. Any position where you find yourself today, please stand by the people. Don't compromise your integrity. We see that so many positions in 1993, unions were fighting. Unions stood with M.K.O Abiola. M.K.O Abiola couldn't have stood alone, but people stood with him. Where are our unions today? Where are the leaders today? Do we still have leaders? Are we fighting for those who are following us? Are we speaking the minds of our people? Or when we get there, we fight for ourselves? June 12 is about fighting for freedom.
We are celebrating June 12 today for the sake of the future. For the sake of the future, because we have not reached where we are going. Our democracy has not reached where it is going. So don't let us just celebrate and go to sleep. Let us celebrate to know and to remember that poverty is still here with us. We have so many problems in our political system, and they are still here with us. We have people who are not supposed to be ruling over us, and they are ruling over us. When the time comes that we achieve real democracy in Nigeria, we are going to have free and fair elections, like Abiola's rule. We are going to have people with conscience and truth rule over this country. At the end of the day, we will achieve happiness and good standing.
M.K.O Abiola is a citizen of this state, and as we been told, he has a very good program for the people of Nigeria. I'm happy for what you have been doing, Your Excellency, and your government. I want to plead that you deepen the dividends of democracy more, and I pray that God Almighty will help you to achieve it. But to my people, all of us listening here today, one of the ways to achieve the dream of M.K.O Abiola is for all of us to get our PVC. Democracy cannot be deepened in any environment when we do not have the right to vote, the instrument to vote, and when we stay in our home, and when we think what happened to others does not concern us, we are all in the same boat. We have to get our PVC and ensure that the voting leaders who have the interests of the masses at heart, who have the interests of the women, who have the interests of the urban, the fatherless. This is the time for us to do so.
Organizations, groups, artisans took their turn as they took salute from the governor during a march past parade.
Master 3 over award, well done.
The Ogun State cultural troupe also added color to the event with the display of Eyo masquerade. Giant Strides crew caught up with dignitaries and groups at the event and they bore their minds on the importance of Democracy Day to Nigerians.
June 12, 1993 was an epoch-making day. That was the day in Nigeria's history that Nigeria had the best general election, presidential election. It was the most free, it was the most fair in the annals of Nigeria's history. That was the day when the largest majority of Nigerian voters decided almost unanimously to vote for M.K.O. Abiola. His acceptance, his choice was national, beyond ethnic consideration, beyond religious consideration, and beyond any other consideration. Whether you are poor, whether you are rich, whether you are educated, whether you are not. That was the freest election so far.
It is important in the history of political evolution, and it will remain so for a long time to come, because that was a day in the history of this country where Nigerians came out to vote regardless of tribe and religion. And so the democracy that we enjoy today started, that is the kernel of the democracy that we're enjoying today. So it will continue to be a day to be remembered in the history of, in the annals of democracy struggle in Nigeria.
My advice to Nigeria is that even though Abiola is dead, but we should not forget the lesson we learned from the struggle. And what is the lesson? The power of courage, the ability to believe in one's, the ability to have a stand on what believe and right. We should always remember that whatever is worth doing well. If Abiola refused to fight for this struggle, we will not witness democracy today.
Significantly, this day is a day that is very, very important in the democracy and governance of Nigeria. Flashback, I think I was still in primary school then, 1993, when this issue happened. I could remember the happenings that day. Is flashing back to my memory. Though I was not deeply informed of that happening based on my age then, but I was able to read history and to interpret and understand why that day is being celebrated. And I give it to President Buhari, Muhammadu Buhari, our president, that has made the Democracy Day June 12. It's a glory to Yoruba land, to Ogun State in particular, because this is the home base of M.K.O, Moshood Abiola, who is the architect, though not alive, but is the architect of this very significant day in the history of Nigeria.
June 12 then was the day Nigerians speak in one voice. There's no sectional area in Nigeria then. No matter the religions you are, we all believe Chief M.K.O Abiola is a competent person that can lead Nigerian to a successful ground. That is to say, the unity and the progress of Nigerians was determined on that specific date. That is why we are observing that day. That is very important and significant to Nigerians as a whole.
Without mincing words, the sacrifices of Chief M.K.O Abiola and other patriots who died in the struggle for the nation's democratic rule is not in vain, as the nation is now leveraging on the sacrifice made by the heroes.